We're live. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Brody from Everything Board Games. I have Dave Killingsworth here with his new board game, Dawn of the Archmage. All right. Well, tell us about your game.
So after doing as many games and Kickstarters as we had, we wanted to try and take something to the next level, an area that we thought was missing, a way to do a small unit skirmish game with miniatures that did play for 2 and 3 and 4 hours and require 30 minutes to set up and break down. And so talking with a friend of mine who had invented a game a while back, but he never published it, we took some of the mechanics from that with him, and we totally took it in a whole new direction and built a game of mages summoning monsters and making them do gladiatorial combat to determine who's going to be the ruler of all Sorcato. And it just evolved into this really fun, light minis game that people really seem to enjoy.
So when did you start, starting with this game? When did you start making it?
About a year ago, I think. Right after we finished up Lords of Rock, we started working on Dawn of the Archmage. I say Archmage, Archmage. And we had already had Nightmare Forest Alien Invasion planned. And so between the Alien Invasion and this, we launched a small prequel card game to Dawn called Archmage Origins. And so we did that just to kind of see if people would like the theme and the art and give them a light little game that they could check out. And then we are evolving it into this much larger, wildly fun miniatures game.
Now, for everyone that doesn't know, I didn't know, this is your 7th Kickstarter game. Is that right?
Correct.
Your 7th one. All the other ones have done well, so we're hoping for this one.
Yes.
Is this the same person that does the art, or is this a new?
It's a mix of people. The wizards are done by the same guy who did all the gods and Lords of Rock, and then the sculptor did some of the monsters. His girlfriend did some of the monsters for Origins. They both did some of the extra work for Alien Invasion, and so she's doing the monsters, he's doing the sculpts, and Andora's doing the wizards. So it's a little bit of a team effort. I've got about 8 different artists that work for me at any one time or another. But these are my 3 primaries right now for these projects.
Gotcha. So you play and you get to summon whatever monsters or whatever, and you're attacking everyone else. Is that how it plays, or?
Yeah, pretty much. You have a resource management, so you have power stones and you have soul stones, and you use them to either summon monsters. And the monsters have varying cost to summon them, and you expend those stones, and you summon you have cards in your hand, and you'll summon one of the monsters from your hand, put it on your placard, and then put the corresponding mini on the board. And then you have a movement phase, and if you, at the end of your movement, any of your monsters are co-located with any enemy monsters, you have a dice-based combat that you can mitigate luck with any on the board. Spells that phase, and if you, at the end of your movement, and then you have some special powers for your wizards, and some of the monsters have special abilities. So it's a dice chucking, but we built in ways to mitigate the luck part of the game, because I like dice and I like luck, because it's one of the things about Solar Floor games. It's all about making games that are family friendly, and if you're the adult and you can just beat up the kids, that's not fun for anybody. So we do that, but we also, for when you have a lot of adults playing adults, we built in ways for them to strategize around the luck, so to speak.
Yeah. So what's the youngest player you've had play your game so far?
7.
7. Okay, a 7-year-old can pick it up.
Yeah, they pretty much are the version of the most aggressive wizard you can find, because they just summon monsters and then chase everybody around trying to beat them into submission. So, and they just have a good time, because when they're rolling dice, they have get a chance to beat you as you do beat them. And as an adult, though, you have a better idea of how to use your spells and stuff to kind of mitigate that. But everybody has a blast. All the reviewers we've sent it out to, all the beta testers, have just really liked it. We've tweaked a couple little things after some of the feedback. We ran into an issue where if you only had 2 or 3 players, people were sacrificing their monsters too often, so it drug the game out. So we added a couple little tweaks to the rules that now have fixed that problem. So now, 4 people should be able to play in less than 70 minutes.
Okay, and it plays 2 to 4, or what?
2 to 4. If we get big enough Kickstarter, we'll add an expansion towards the end of the Kickstarter that'll allow you to play up to 6 players.
All right. That might be, good for some people. You got 6 people playing, got to play a fun game.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, so you've been designing games for a while. What would you say is the hardest thing for this one that you've come to so far?
Actually, it's with all the games. It's learning to check your ego at the door. So many people get really bothered when certain people don't like their games, and nobody makes anything everybody likes. And so that's one of the hardest things is finding something that people will just. All I care is that people have fun. It's not about hitting a specific niche or a target or something like that. It's, do I have fun playing it? Would I like playing it again? And then bringing it out to people and seeing if they enjoy it. I've been designing games for since 1994. Back then, I used to work. I created some add-ons for a play-by-email game a friend of mine had created. So I've been doing design type stuff for a long time. Board games are just in the last 5 years.
Oh, I see. So you got some background. What do you do? What's your job, I guess, your day job?
I run multiple departments in a large corporation doing data and software support and data security for international customers around the world.
Gotcha. So does any of that help you when you're designing these games?
Yes, it's how I get away from my job.
So how often do you play games?
We have a game night every Friday night at a friend's house. He's got like 1,500 games in his house, so we go over there. We were just there last night. Played a couple of games. We got to play the new Tiny Epic Quest. Yeah. Yes, we just played that last night, and we played it wrong. We figured it out after the fact.
Yes, that's how it kind of goes. You play a game, you play it wrong until you kind of know how to play.
Right.
So what game kind of got you into the hobby? What was that first thing?
It was a friend of mine and I had an idea years and years ago, which ended up becoming, let's see, what year was that? It was 2007, 2008. We came up with the idea for a game called ASCAR, ASSCAR, American Stereotype Supercar Action Racing. It was a screw your neighbor game dressed up in race cars, and then my wife informed us that you couldn't sell ASCAR in a store, so it became Thrash Car. My buddy and I worked on that for a while, and 5 years later, we were able to kind of make it, put it on Kickstarter, and then I learned a whole lot about making games, not designing games, but publishing games.
All right, so explain to us here your background here and how.
Yeah, so no, I mean, way back in the early 90s, a friend of mine he'd created a game called VGA Planets, and it was a play-by-email game. So you'd take your turn and you'd process it and you'd upload it and then the host would run. And so that was when I got involved in doing design stuff, because I designed a bunch of add-ons for it, and we actually sold a ton of them. I still sell one every once in a while, and it's 20-some years later, 30 years later, whatever it is. Yes, 20-some years later, yeah. Every once in a while, I'll get a check in the mail from the company who still sells them. I mean, they still sell it on floppy disk. I can't even generate the key files anymore. Only they can. And then, a few years, 2008, a buddy of mine came out to Seattle when I was living out there, and we came up with this idea for this kind of screw your neighbor game dressed up in stereotype parody of NASCAR. And we ended up making it, but it was not understanding what really is involved with a Kickstarter, not really understanding what's involved with manufacturing and production. It was a massive learning experience. I mean, we got it funded and we got it out in the world, and I lost a bunch of money on it, but there are people who rabidly love that game. And so that's kind of how it got started. And then, Dumpster Brawl, and then the Nightmare Forest series, and now we're working on the Archmage series, and working on a bunch of. I mean, we've got a list of 8-9 games partially designed that we're just trying to do 2 or 3 a year.
2 or 3 a year. That's quite a bit right there.
Yeah, my wife's wondering when I'm going to fall over, because it's my regular job is 50, 55 hours a week, and then I do this every single night, and then we're leading up to this Kickstarter. That's always super stressful right up until the point where you hit the button. So it's always fascinating. Yeah.
So do your family play games with you?
Yeah, my wife is a big game player. The kids will sometimes, but usually it's a community thing. We get together with our friends and we play board games every Friday night, and like I said, we were playing Tiny Epic Quest because it just got in the mail, so that was fun. And we're still playing. We play Seafall every other week, just one year, and Seafall every other week. And we finished Mech versus Minions, and so we're having a good time.
Yeah. So currently, besides your games, what's your favorite board game right now?
Every time I answer this question, people laugh. I love DC Deck Builder. I absolutely love playing that thing. I like any game where I can build some kind of economic engine of some sort. And most of my friends don't play those with me anymore because part of my job is building budgets and building processes around, scaling support for, customers. And so that lends itself to how fast can I make money or power or whatever really, really fast and then beat your face in the table. I'm really good at that part of it. I'm a horrible worker placement player. Absolutely horrible at it.
So this new game you have has minis in it, correct?
Correct.
Do you paint minis at all? Like, is that?
So I can't see as well as I used to anymore. The very first time I ever painted minis, I painted a metal set of Skaven for my Blood Bowl team. And it turned out I had a knack for it. I just don't have time for it anymore. So like all the minis in our Kickstarter page, all the minis you see that are painted are resin prints by a friend of mine over at Impact Miniatures. He was nice enough to take the STL files and print resin copies, and I sent them over to my buddy in the UK who actually professionally competes at painting minis. So he agreed to paint us a set to show people what they could look like.
Gotcha. Well, I've seen them. They look pretty nice, those minis.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, are you going to be at Gen Con? For
not this year. Just with all the stuff we got going into what we're doing, we'll be at QuakeCon about this. I think it's about the same time or the week after, which is here in Dallas, which is more convenient for us. Like I said, I just took over a bunch of extra departments at work, so running off to Gen Con was not really an option this year. And we may do Origins next year instead of Gen Con because Origins is also a little more convenient for us, and it's probably a little better for the stage we are as a company right now. Origins might be a little better market for us to get in because we're not big enough. At Gen Con, you got to be pretty big to really get noticed, and we're not quite there yet. This may put us on the map. I don't know. But what we do is we do PAX South in January, and then we'll do BGG Spring, BGG Fall, QuakeCon, ACon, and then next year we'll probably do Origins.
Gotcha. So if someone wanted to, figure out a little more information about your new game coming out, what's a good place for them to go?
The Kickstarter page is pretty easy. It's a tiny URL, so it's www.tinyurl.com/2017 the year, and then Dawn, DAWN. You can get there if you go on the Facebook, and it's facebook.com/solarflaregames. Trust me, I post enough links; they should be able to find it.
All right, good to know. All right,
and here in about 2 days, you won't be able to get away from the ads.
gotta get everyone seeing this.
Yeah.
All right,
I feel like it's a unique thing because it's finding a light game that has a scalable complexity factor is hard. Something you can play with your kids and then really challenge your friends with is, in my opinion, those are harder to come by, especially at a reasonable price. I had a couple of kids who played the prototype at BGG Spring, and they go, "Hey, it's like Summoner Wars, but for more players and better." So that was the best compliment I think I've had so far. So that was kind of nice, being compared to Dice Tower's 2009 Game of the Year, and being told that we liked that it's better because it's more interactive. That made us feel pretty good.
Well, good luck on your campaign. It starts August 1st. Is that right?
Correct.
A couple days now, so everyone needs to go and check that out. You ready for some rapid fire questions here? Probably doesn't do much about board games, but got a good list here. You ready?
Okay. Sure.
Ninjas or pirates?
Ninjas.
Ninjas. All right.
Yeah.
Cold weather or hot?
Cold.
Pickles or cucumbers?
Pickles.
Of course. Cookies or cake?
Cookies.
Fast or slow?
Slow.
iPhone or Android?
Android. Apple's the devil.
Work hard or play hard?
Both.
All right, last one. TV or reading a book?
Actually, both. I read a lot, but my TV records 68 TV shows. So a lot of the TV stuff is a lot of times I'll be in here in the office working. I've got the whole setup right here in front of me, and then I've got a TV over here to the left that I'll put on shows. And I have certain shows I have to watch them and pay attention, and then some shows that can just stream, and hearing them in the background is enough to follow them. Yeah. So that's another both, because I like to do both. I love to read. I'm good friends with a well-known fantasy author, so I love reading her stuff, and then I read all the time, but I love just turning my brain off and watching TV.
Well, Dave, thanks for being here, doing this little interview. Everyone remember August 1st, it goes out on Kickstarter. He said, you're not going to miss it, so you'll be able to see it. And thank you everyone for watching our video here. And see you later next time.